The airport is the most honest place in modern life. It strips away your house, your car, your office, your social context. All you've got is what you packed and how you behave. And if you watch carefully, and I mean really watch, you can spot quiet wealth in about 90 seconds. There's a cluster of behaviors that gives it away every time, and once you see them, you can't unsee them. Today, I'm going to walk you through exactly what to look for. Not so you can copy it for Instagram, but because what's actually going on underneath is one of the most useful psychology lessons you'll ever get for free. First, why airports? Because airports compress everything. Time pressure, money decisions, frustration, social signaling, patience, planning. All of it gets squeezed into a 4-hour window between the curb and the gate. People reveal themselves. The newly wealthy try to look the part. The trying to look wealthy go even harder. And the actually wealthy, especially the ones who built it themselves, are doing something completely different. They're invisible. That's the whole point. I've been watching this pattern for years. Once you know what it looks like, you'll spot it in every terminal you ever set foot in. Observation 1. They arrived 2 hours ago and they're calm. The single most reliable tell of quiet wealth at an airport is calm. They're not running, they're not sweating. They're not the person you see racing past you with a roller bag clattering behind them, eyes scanning for the gate number, panic in the body language. They got there early. 2 hours, sometimes 3. They cleared security half an hour ago, found their gate, and now they're just sitting, reading something, working on a laptop that's at least 3 years old, drinking water. Here's why this is so revealing. Calm at an airport is a luxury good. It costs time, extra hours of your life you're choosing to spend buffered against things that might go wrong. Most people won't pay that price. They'd rather sleep an extra 45 minutes and risk it. Quiet Wealth has done this calculation 100 times and concluded that the buffer is non-negotiable. Their time is worth too much to spend it stressed and sprinting. There's also a deeper layer. The person who isn't panicking at the airport is the person who has options if everything falls apart. Missed flight? Annoying, but not catastrophic. Canceled? They'll figure it out. They aren't running because they don't have to run. The freedom from urgency is the freedom that money actually buys, and they're using it correctly. Observation 2. They don't board first, even when they can. This one took me years to notice, and once I did, I saw it everywhere. The airline announces priority boarding. Group 1. The aisle parts and the people with elite status, business class tickets, premium credit cards stand up, line up, and march onto the plane. Now look at the calm, older guy in the corner with the unbranded carry-on. He has the same boarding pass. He's flown more this year than most people will fly in a lifetime. He doesn't move. He's reading. He's letting the line pass. Sometimes he doesn't board until group 3 or 4. Why? Because once you've sat in an airline seat enough times, you understand a fundamental truth. The plane is going nowhere until everyone is on it. Boarding first means 20 extra minutes in a cramped seat with people climbing over you. Boarding last means 20 extra minutes in the gate area with legroom, a power outlet, and your own thoughts. The newly wealthy boards first because he paid for the right to. He wants the visible reward. The quietly wealthy boards last because he's already extracted everything he wanted from the upgrade, which was a wider seat, not a longer time inside it. Status used as theater versus status used as a tool. Two completely different relationships with the exact same boarding pass. Observation 3. Their luggage tells you nothing. Walk through any major terminal and watch the bags. Loud wealth has loud bags, big monograms, recognizable patterns, logo-laden, immediately readable, designed to be photographed. Quiet wealth has bags you can't identify, plain leather, plain canvas, plain hardshell, no logo. Sometimes a small brand you'd have to actually know to recognize. Often a bag they've owned for a decade, slightly scuffed, that's traveled 6 continents with them. And here's the funny thing, often the quiet bag is more expensive than the logo bag. There are luggage makers, particular Japanese brands, particular old money British and American brands that charge $2,000 for something completely invisible to anyone outside the tiny group of people who would recognize it. That's the whole point. They're not signaling to strangers. They're signaling to themselves and to a small network of people who already know. The signal goes inward, not outward. The same logic shows up in their watches, their shoes, their clothes, their phones. If you can read the brand from across the terminal, it's almost always a different kind of person. Observation 4. They don't perform with staff. Watch how people interact with airline employees. The trying to look wealthy traveler often performs. He mentions his status loudly. He name drops the route he flies every week. He makes sure the gate agent and the people in line behind him know he's an important person who flies a lot. Sometimes there's an undercurrent of complaint about the seat, about the boarding, about how this airline used to be better. Quiet wealth says hello, says please, says thank you, and says the actual thing they need. That's it. The interaction is over in 15 seconds. There's no theater because they don't need the gate agent's reaction to feel important. They were already secure walking up to the counter. Whether or not the agent treats them like a VIP changes nothing about how they feel about themselves. And here's the kicker. The gate agents notice. Every flight attendant, every gate agent, every lounge worker has a mental map of which passengers are pleasant and which are exhausting. Quiet wealth ends up getting better treatment than loud wealth almost universally. Not because they demanded it, but because they didn't. Observation 5. The lounge tells on you. If you ever want a masterclass in spotting wealth tiers, sit in an airline lounge for an hour and just observe. The aspirational lounge user takes photos of the food. He posts about being in the lounge. He eats aggressively because the food is free, even though he paid hundreds of dollars for the access. He drinks 3 glasses of champagne before noon because it's there. He sits in the most visible chair. Quiet wealth uses the lounge differently. They came in to charge a laptop, drink water, eat a small meal, and rest. They take a corner seat. They don't photograph anything. They might have one drink. More often, they'll have tea or coffee. They are, functionally, treating the lounge as a workspace or a recovery space, not a theme park. The deeper pattern is consumption discipline. The aspirational mind sees access as something to maximize. Get the most out of every privilege. The quietly wealthy mind sees access as something to use appropriately. The lounge isn't the destination. The destination is the destination. This generalizes outside the airport. The same principle is why quiet wealth doesn't order 3 appetizers at the expensive restaurant just because they can afford to. They eat what they actually want. They use what they actually need. Observation 6. They don't lose composure when things go wrong. Delays happen, cancellations happen, lost bags happen. Watch what happens at the customer service desk during a major disruption, and you'll see the entire wealth psychology spectrum on display. The loudest, angriest passengers at the desk are almost never the wealthiest. Wealth, especially quiet wealth, has built up so much travel experience that disruptions feel routine. They've seen worse. They have buffer in their schedule. They have a backup plan they're already running through in their head while the agent is still typing. Their conversation with the agent is short, polite, focused on solutions. Can you put me on the next flight? Is there a hotel voucher available? Thanks. That's it. Compare that to the meltdown happening 2 spots down in the line. Yelling, demanding to speak to a manager, threatening to never fly this airline again. Performance, all of it, and almost always coming from someone who can least afford the disruption, financially, emotionally, or both. The pattern again, people with options don't need to perform. People without options have to make noise just to feel like they have any leverage at all. Composure is a wealth signal. It always has been. Observation 7. They take care of the body. This one is subtle but unmistakable once you see it. Quiet wealth, especially long-term wealth, takes care of the body during travel. They drink water consistently throughout the flight. They eat actual meals before boarding instead of grabbing a candy bar at the gate. They walk laps in the terminal during long layovers. They sleep on long-haul flights with the lights down and a real eye mask. They limit alcohol on board because they've learned what it does to them at altitude. None of this is glamorous. It's not aspirational. It doesn't make for content. But here's what it reflects. Long-term wealth requires long-term thinking, and that includes long-term thinking about your own body. The wealthy person you're watching on the plane is the same person who's been showing up to their workouts, their checkups, their sleep schedule for 30 years. The discipline that built the wealth is the same discipline maintaining the body. Loud wealth often skips this entirely. Bottle service on the plane, 3 drinks before takeoff, no water, ate nothing all day, will arrive at the destination destroyed. The body is treated like a credit card, for performance, not for longevity. So if you put it all together, here's the pattern. Calm. They arrive early and don't rush. Patience. They don't board first just because they can. Anonymity. Their luggage tells you nothing. No theater. They don't perform for staff. Consumption discipline. The lounge isn't a stage. Composure. They don't lose it when things go wrong. Body care. They protect the long game. None of these is dramatic. None of them shows up in a vlog. That's the entire point. The behaviors that signal quiet wealth are specifically the behaviors that don't draw attention, because the people doing them have nothing left to prove and nothing they want noticed. And here's the thing that makes this useful for the rest of us. You don't need to be wealthy to adopt these behaviors. Calm, patience, composure, discipline. They're all free. They're all available to anyone reading this. And they tend to be early indicators, not just symptoms. Meaning the people who train themselves into these habits often become the wealthy person at the gate years later. Not because of the habits alone, but because the same mindset that produces the habits produces the financial decisions too. Next time you're in an airport, do me a favor. Spend 10 minutes just watching, not your phone, not the boards, the people. You'll see exactly what I'm describing, and the more clearly you see it, the more clearly you'll see your own habits, which corner of the spectrum you're sitting in, and which one you'd rather be in. Drop a comment if you've ever traveled enough to notice this for yourself. I want to know which observation hit hardest, and if this kind of psychology video is your thing, there's another one on screen right now about the iPhone version of the same pattern. Different category, same principle. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you in the next one.